Everybody, welcome for another spoiler review of episode 4 of Loki series. Man, I gotta tell you, I love this freaking show. uh, I was just mentioning this the other day with some friends that I honestly can put this, wasn't even, I think it was last week after the last episode, but I can honestly say I can put this show up there with like Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Yu-Gi-Oh, and it's just like up there as far as like my favorite shows that I just love to watch. It's so great. As a matter of fact, uh by the time like the week of episode 6 uh comes up, uh not the day of, but leading up towards the day, I'm gonna rewatch, because I didn't do this for the other shows, Falcon and Winter Soldier and WandaVision, but I want to do this for Loki because I want to like backtrack all the way through until the end. But this show makes me want to revisit this again because it's so much fun, mostly because of Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston's chemistry, and Tom Hiddleston's chemistry with uh, the actress who plays the female Loki, Sylvie. But anyway, yeah, their chemistry is just like fantastic, and just like those three in particular are like just great cast. I mean, like everybody involved is fantastic. It's just like those three in particular are my favorites. But anyway, uh, Sylvie and Loki is on that, doomed planet. Now, it appears they are doomed, and this is a funny thing, because when certain still images of the show was dropping leading up to the first episode kind of thing, there was that moment, that little screenshot moment where like it's Sylvia and Loki sitting on that rock looking upon like uh the horizon. People, including me, thought he somehow like got into the Soul Stone or something and met up with, or going through a different time period to meet up with Black Widow or something like that. But that wasn't Black Widow. But that's what everybody thought that was. Uh, Funny how things turned out. But anyway, they sitting there, sitting on that rock, waiting for the end, and like they're sharing a moment, and it's like, it's hard to say because a lot of people are split online, where it's like they think it's gross how you basically want to, he's trying to like getting close to himself in a romantic way, and other people's like kind of like, it's not, because I said before last week, it was like technically it's not like incest or anything like that. It's just like they made me from like the, like it's you, but it's like a different you from an entirely different universe, uh with different experiences, and it happened to be the opposite sex. Whether it probably wouldn't have mattered to these Lokis anyway, because they're, at least these in particular Lokis are bisexual, so it wouldn't really matter to them. But it's just that uh because when you dig a little deeper and noodle on it, it's not really that grossy. He's exceptionally narcissistic, as Owen Wilson mentions in this episode. It's like, oh my god, like, because after they picked them up and they haul them off to two different rooms to be interrogated, uh Owen Wilson is just like flabbergasted, like, well, he mentions this later, but he's just like almost laughing. It's like, wow, it's like you are that narcissistic, is the fact that you just are, like, because the only reason they found him because when they was like holding hands and just just being close in that way, it caused like an unusual variant in the timeline that they never seen before. It wasn't like a skew uh like a line graph like you typically see on their monitors. This is like a red hard line shooting straight up kind of thing, and it was bizarre. And they want to know what that was. That's how they even found them in order to get them out of that apocalypse. But uh wasn't feeling a little bit betrayed because he thought he might have broken through with Loki and became friends and gotten along. But after his him booking it the way he did, it took off on him. He's essentially like putting him like essentially their version of the TVA's version of a holding cell, which they put him in like a time loop, which it's like a lesser version of what Doctor Strange did in his movie. But we get a surprise guest star. Jamie Alexander's Lady Sif is back, and this is like a Lady Sif as like way before the first Thor movie kind of situation. It's like way before that, and this is around the time when like I guess, and it was a little not too young, but it's like at a certain point Loki, because he thought it was funny according to him, he cut her hair, not shaved it, but he cut her hair, which in Norse mythology there is precedent for that in like Norse history with Loki cutting Sif's hair, and that was like the that's where Odin got the idea to like the foundation of the creation of Mjolnir in the first place. But then he's stuck in this bad moment where she come in there, smacks him, knees him in the groin, and tells him he's gonna be alone forever, and then walks off. Then the scene plays again. So I'm thinking like, it's gotta be like nerve-wracking just to get kneed in the nuts every time, like you're stuck in a continuous loop and getting your nuts kicked, and it's like that's gotta be like I can't even imagine being stuck in like a time loop, but a loop where you get your nuts kicked, that's a whole nother ball of wax. And I can't imagine the pain. Like, and Lady Sif is strong as it is, and it's like and he's a god too, but it's like that's gotta hurt a lot. But I'm surprised he's not asked for an ice pack. But anyway, that was a nice little surprise. I'm glad to see her again. The last time we saw her was in a couple of episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on the first season. And she was never seen again since 2013. But she's supposed to be in Thor: Love and Thunder, so it'd be nice to see her again, see what she's been up to after the death of the Warriors 3 in Thor Ragnarok, and what she's been up to after the events of Infinity War and Endgame. Did she get snapped away, or did she hide away? Because I imagine she got snapped away because she wasn't there at the final battle in Endgame, so it stands to reason. Which is kind of messed up when you think about it, is that didn't choose to bring in Lady Sif. That been a nice little add-on, among other things. Like I said before, but nice to show at least a bit of acknowledgement for the Netflix characters, despite how you feel about like one or two of them. Just be nice to see for 5 minutes at least, or a few minutes at least, where Daredevil, Lady Sif, Ghost Rider, the Agents of Shields, the Shield agents, like Daisy and Agent May, uh uh Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, and Punisher, uh just like a few minutes acknowledging that they are in this too. That'd have been cool, but I digress. But yeah, then as uh wasn't talking to Loki, it's like, look, you're being lied to, okay? Like, wasn't think he's BSing, but despite what Loki was trying to tell him, uh like, you're not created by the timekeepers. They kidnapped you guys and forced y'all to work uh in this hellhole, in thankless job, and just with a complete obedience. And which is another thing, like, they brought these people from different timelines from across essentially the multiverse, I guess, or just one sacred timeline, and force them to work in a TVA. Do they neuralize them to forget their past? Because they have to, because it's like, because it takes Lady Loki to enchant their minds in order to like relive their buried memories, in order for them to even remember remotely what's going on. Because that's what happened to C20 when, after the events at that future Roxxon Walmart thing, and she's in her own little interrogation after they picked her up after the events of episode 2, and uh 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 I forgot her name that fast, the TVA judge lady. She after he's sitting down with Owen wasn't sitting down with her in her office, signing papers to essentially making the case officially closed. He's still bothered by not only what Loki said, but the fact that he's not allowed to talk with C20, see what happened to her, or like what's going on from her. And the judge just telling him, like, and don't worry about it, it's been handled. Like, it's like, well, this is my job, why you won't let me speak with her? I've done this thousands of times. It is unusual that you're not letting me do this particular investigation. So he knew automatically that she's obviously hiding something, because it's like, this is the first time apparently that she's not allowing me to do my particular job for this one particular person. And then she just tells him, like, oh, she's dead. She she was like, babbling first, but then she just ceased talking, and she died. I can't remember. She just talking about she committed. No, she didn't say she committed suicide. She just said she died. But Wilson snuck, or at least stole one of her little time devices things, timestamp things. And as he left out our office, he went through her little archives, which is weird how they're that trusting to keep those things just easily looked into. There's no passcode or nothing like that. But he saw their interrogation. She was completely, chatty and explaining, like, it's all real. We're all variants and everything like that. And then you see, like, the judge popping in onto the TV screen and shutting off the camera. Is essentially what's going down. Like, she just silenced her, just killed her herself, or pruned her. One of the two. It's probably pruned, just to silence her. Then that's when he went to go get Loki again and try to team up just to take down this entire organization, because apparently Loki was telling the truth. But then as soon as they got back, and this is like it was like a tough pill to swallow. I never felt this way since the end of Infinity War. But after Owen Wilson just just confronted her, like, yeah, you this whole place is pretty much like a big lie. You kept this from me. And then just to finish up with the question she asked him earlier, is like, where would you go if you can go anywhere? And he finally tells her in this moment, you know where I would go if I can go anywhere? I'll go back to wherever life you plucked me from. And then it's like, I just love that line. I'm paraphrasing, but that's that particular line that I love Owen Wilson's line read in that. That was just like an awesome, powerful thing. And then she just coldly just say, prune him. And then it's like, and they just erased Owen Wilson, Mobius. And like, you can see like Loki just looking in horror, just like his friends being disintegrated before his eyes. And I was sitting there like, when I'm watching, I was shouting like, no, like, and it's like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it brought me back to Infinity War. It's affecting my that feeling. It's like, you only been with this character for technically 4 episodes, and it's like I felt so much from him. And it's like, and like, this judge lady just so freaking cold. And the fact that like is even proven later, but before we get to that, Sylvie, that other, like the black TVA lady that we've been following a lot, that she possessed during that whole situation at the Roxxon Walmart. She got a glimpse of her former life, but she was conflicted, so she went back to bring Sylvie back to that same area, so she can use her powers, so she can actually see fully what was going on in her memories. And you don't get to see it, but given this actor's awesome performance, the fact that the facial expressions, told us everything that we need to know, that she like had like a great life and everything like that. And I'm assuming she was like from maybe the 70s, because given her hairstyle, it was very 70s look. And Owen Wilson's pretty sure he's from the 90s, given his predilection for jet skis. So this is like a very interesting, like, this was an interesting turn of events. But man, I was loving this scene. But when they got back, the judge bringing both Sylvie and Loki to meet the timekeepers to be officially erased, essentially, so they can oversee it themselves. But while they're taking that elevator ride down to their quarters, this looked like a relatively massive place. It was all foggy and stuff like that. Sylvie asked her, like, why did you take me from my home? Like, what was my variant, essentially, that felt like you felt so prudent to take me from my home and my family? And just out of just sheer coldness, that judge lady, starts with an R. I can't remember her freaking name. Roland, like something. I can't remember. I must have heard it like 1,000 times and I still can't retain it. I'm never good with names. It took me a minute to remember Sylvie's name. But the judge lady just coldly said, I don't remember. Just not even considering her her person. Because early in the episode, you can see like a flashback of Sylvie as a kid, and the judge lady at the time was one of the hunters, security people, and she was bringing this little girl to face the former judge of the TVA, and like Sylvie snatched off her little time stamp device and ran off, and she been running ever since. That's why she always been the one variant they could not catch, because she was that wily. But when they met up with the timekeepers, and it looks like they definitely look like lizard men, but it turns out to be just like everybody suspected. Is very Wizard of Oz. This is just animatronics, very Five Nights at Freddy thing going on. And the security lady, the black TVA security lady, you know, bursts in, hands, shuts off their neck collars, and hands Sylvie her dagger, so she can she and Loki can fight off the other security people down there. And when she like throws the dagger at one of the timekeepers, his head falls off. It shows them to be essentially robots. So there's a deeper story into this, and everybody's going into Kang territory, because the judge lady in the comics is a love interest of Kang the Conqueror, who's supposed to be in the Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. So he might have a cameo in this, probably in the last episode. But then Loki was trying to talk to Sylvie, probably to confess his like feelings for her, until I don't know, well, not out of nowhere. The way like I see enough movies and TV shows to know something like this, when you knock somebody out and you leave their weapons, a particular weapon on the ground, ready to be picked up, you can see that stabbing in the back moment coming. She erased our Loki, and then Sylvie, knocked her to the ground, and just like once again, out of this coldness, it's like she's telling Sylvie to like do it, and Sylvie's like, no, you're gonna tell me everything that's going on. And then in credits, you get to see that Loki did not just cease to exist. He actually went somewhere. I don't know what. It's obviously like some other, world. We don't know where, but apparently it's a desolated world with an destroyed Avengers tower in the background, and he meets these different Lokis that, half of them like you would recognize if you read the comics or seen snippets, where you get this old man, some kind of actor, I don't know him from anything really, but he's dressed in like the classic comic book Loki outfit from the 60s, with like the same goofy, not goofy, but it's just like those classic comic get up from old Stan Lee days, with the whole horns and everything like that. Then you get Kid Loki holding a crocodile, who's supposed to be another, I guess, Loki. I'm assuming this is like a Loki, the same universe where Spider Pig is from, Peter Porker, because that's the only thing I can think of to make sense of why it's like an animal Loki. Then there's this black guy holding like I'm assuming Mjolnir, but that might be a Loki who managed to wield Thor. So you got all these different various Lokis. I only know the Kid Loki and the old man Loki more so than the other two, but we probably will find out what's going on with those guys, because Loki woke up asking like, am I in hell? Am I dead? And then one of them said like, no, but you soon will be if you don't follow us. And then that's where it ends. And man, I love this episode. This is like an awesome episode. So much is revealed in this, and it's it pained me for a while about what happened to Owen Wilson. And given the fact what happened to Loki, I'm assuming anybody who's been pruned we might see them again. We don't know if they went to the same place or not. That's the thing, because depending on how many people they pruned over wherever, how many centuries or whatever like that, because it can't all fit on this planet. I mean, no matter if this, let's say that planet, that desolate planet that they are on, is reminiscent to Earth. Earth can hold so. I mean, and if you quantify how many people they probably pruned over years that was sent there, and they probably grew old and died off, even the new people they probably had to bring in that, you know, they didn't put back onto the proper sacred timeline, and they had to prune. They all are there, and it's probably a lot of them. So, you know, but like we don't know what's the habitat of this place is yet. If there's like creatures that they're avoiding or whatever the case may be, we'll see. But man, I thoroughly enjoyed this. A lot of people complain about last episode feeling like it's like slow, or, you know, it was very fillery, but it's like, I get that point, and it felt a little short to me compared to the other episodes. And yeah, it didn't give us much, but I think it still is way better of, you know, of an episode compared to like the first two episodes of WandaVision, or yeah, 2 episodes of WandaVision, where it's like extremely so. By, you know, so like by comparison, last episode was still more engaging. You got like a one shot run through a city while avoiding collapsing buildings and fighting off security, and you find out, like, you know, Sylvie and Loki's backstories and feeling each other a little bit, and you know, their sexual preference kind of situation. So it wasn't a total loss. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. Like, I cannot wait for the next one. Then I am going to see Black Widow. Well, I'm going to watch it on Disney Plus, because I completely forgot about like Black Widow coming out on July 9th. But normally I go see movies on Saturdays in the morning, when I know I'm going to be off on those kind of days. But I'm going to see I'm going to the Museum of Science of Industry in Chicago, and there's like a Marvel exhibit that my friend told me about. I completely forgot it was even a thing, thanks to COVID. But I want to go there, and then afterwards, the Taste of Chicago is running on that weekend, so I'm gonna go hang out there downtown right afterwards. So I will have to, on that Friday, watch Black Widow on Disney Plus, pay for the premium access, and then later on that day I will make a video describing my thoughts, fully spoilers by the way, of the film. So look forward to that. Anyway, I hope to see you guys next week. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff to Talkative Carl on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. And leave a comment below. Let me know what your thoughts are on this episode of Loki, and what you think would happen in the next episode. So I will see you guys soon. Take care.